Next up, super fun. Super fun. Great, great research on this one. The top 5 Steeler draft picks of all time. Now, you know the rich history that the Pittsburgh Steelers have. I mean, there is a plethora of guys that you could put on this list. Just a plethora from every position. Literally every position you could put up here as far as the top 5 Steeler draft picks of all time. But I've got my 5 and we're going to go over them. And actually, and again, we're doing them in order from 1 to 5 in my eyes as far as draft picks are concerned. This one will be fun. Again, it's based on their impact with the franchise. I think that's key. Based on their impact with the franchise. So it doesn't have to be a first round pick. Um, but these are my top 5 as far as helping the Steelers get to be where we are right now as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 1, my favorite Steeler of all time, Mean Joe Green. I don't have any qualms, questions about it. Mean Joe Green. I mean, he was the 4th overall pick in 1969. In my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, not just mine, one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time. That just one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time. Played with an attitude, but the accolades. Look, I could go over all of them, but he's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in '72 and 1974. 5-time First Team All Pro, 3-time Second Team, 10-time All Pro. He's part of the NFL 1970s, the All 70s team. Excuse me, 75 anniversary team or the 75th anniversary team, the 100th anniversary team. And oh, by the way, he was the cornerstone of the Steel Curtain defense. And he happened to just make the Hall of Fame. I mean, I guess they just threw him in there in 1987. Mean Joe Green, absolutely incredible. To me, everybody knows he was the pick that started it all. And it didn't start off easy right away either. Like they didn't pick him and the Steelers, just automatically were great. No, it took a few years. Took a few years, but they were absolutely great. And he was one of the guys that started all and was great as well. Number 2 on the list, Terry Bradshaw. Now, look, I'm not saying that Terry Bradshaw was the greatest quarterback in Steelers history because I don't think that he was. Ben Roethlisberger is better than Terry Bradshaw. I don't think there's any question about that. Not in my mind, anyway, and probably not in a lot of your minds. But let's not kid ourselves. He was the 1st overall pick in 1970. He won 4 Super Bowls. 4. He was the quarterback of 4 Super Bowl victories. 2-time Super Bowl MVP. He was also the most valuable player in the National Football League in 1978. A lot of people don't know that or recognize that. He had a first-team All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL passing touchdown leader. He was a member of the 70s All-Decade team and a member of the Hall of Fame in 1989. That's Terry Bradshaw. Again, 1st overall pick, clash with Chuck Noll early on. Doesn't have the gaudiest stats. That was back in the day. They didn't throw the ball, 40, 50 times a game like they do now. And when they did throw the ball, it was deep down the field. So a lot of times it was getting picked off or passes were incomplete. Like they weren't throwing, if you threw the ball, I don't know, 18 times a game, 10 of those weren't quick slants. No, they're throwing the ball down the field to Swan and Stallworth. That's exactly what was happening. So Terry Bradshaw, he is number 2 for me because when he was drafted or his draft pick, look, they needed a quarterback. He was the guy. Again, didn't start off great, but he was the leader, and they needed a leader. That was Terry Bradshaw. Number 3, Rod Woodson. Now, my personal opinion, Rod Woodson, in my eyes, is the 2nd best Pittsburgh Steeler ever. That's just what I think. You can disagree. You can say, no way. Come on, Big B, you're crazy. No. I think Rod Woodson is the 2nd best Steeler right behind Mean Joe Green. That's how good I believe Rod Woodson was. I don't even think it's my belief. That's just how good the man was. Again, he was the 10th overall pick, 1987, out of Purdue. He was Defensive Player of the Year. 1993, 6-time first team All Pro. 5 of those were with the Steelers. He played. That's why I tried to distinguish at the very beginning what you did for the Steelers franchise. So 5 times, he was 11-time Pro Bowler, most interceptions returned for touchdowns in NFL history with 12. Just in case people didn't know, yeah, Rod Woodson's the guy. 12. He has the record. It's not Deion Sanders or Darrell Green, or apparently Asante Samuel thinks that he's in that class of defensive backs, which he absolutely is not. But no, he doesn't have the record either. It would be Rod Woodson. Rod Woodson. So, not to mention, he was in the 1990s NFL All-Decade Team, NFL's all-time 75 and 100th anniversary teams. Oh, by the way, he's also in the NFL Hall of Fame, got inducted in 2009. Rod Woodson was that guy. Didn't like the way that his career ended in Pittsburgh. I'll be honest with you. I know we love Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher was 100% wrong. Rod Woodson couldn't play anymore. Well, yeah, he could. And not only could he play, yeah, he moved to safety, but he played it extremely well. Extremely well. He wasn't just finished when he left Pittsburgh. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Matter of fact, he won a Super Bowl somewhere else. Let's not talk about where, but he did. But yeah, Rod Woodson was that guy. He was absolutely that guy. Like I said, it didn't end well, but that was Bill Cowher's fault because he didn't want to leave. He could still play and said, nope, we got to get him out of here. And he basically just said, okay, great. I'm going to prove y'all wrong. And he did. Rod Woodson, number 3 on the list. Number 4, Franco Harris. R.I.P. Franco Harris in the Immaculate Reception. Look, a lot of people didn't know that when he retired, he was number 2 on the all-time rushing list. Number 2 when he retired. Franco was the 13th pick in 1972, 4-time Super Bowl champion, first team All-Pro 1 time, second team All-Pro 2 times, 9-time Pro Bowler, NFL rushing touchdowns leader in 1976. He's a member of the 1970s All-Decade Team. Basically, the All-Decade Team was damn near all Steelers. You go and look at that thing, and you're like, holy mackerel, they were good. Yeah, the Steelers were really good. Really good. But yeah, it's just littered with Steelers on the 70s All-Decade Team. Franco Harris, also a member of the NFL Hall of Fame, 1990. The Immaculate Reception. If anybody's ever been to Pittsburgh and you've flown in there, there is a statue of him making the catch. With my first time in Pittsburgh, the first time I went to a game, I saw that thing. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. My wife, she was like, well, Brian, you're starstruck and it's a statue. I go, it is. I don't know. It's my first time here. I'm a diehard Steeler fan. I'd never seen anything like it. I thought, this is incredible. This place must be really special. And it is. It is to us Steeler fans. And Franco, the main thing about Franco was an outstanding football player. He was an incredible football player, but he was a better man. Like everybody said the same thing. He didn't turn down an autograph or a picture, always shook a hand, always smiled. Those are the kind of guys that you like. Gone too soon. Gone too soon. I know he died. I think it was 2 years ago. May have been 3. I don't want to disrespect the time. But just gone too soon. Franco Harris, man. Just a great, great Steeler. Great Steeler, man. And then last but not least, number 5 on my list, Troy Polamalu. I think Troy is the second best safety to ever play in the National Football League. People try to tell me Ed Reed was better. I'm not trying to hear that because Ed Reed wasn't a tackler. Okay? Ed Reed wasn't going to punch you and hit you in the mouth and knock you out. Troy was going to do that. He was also going to jump over your line and make a tackle in the backfield. Yeah, you could say that Troy, he gambled a lot. He was out of position. Well, he was out of position and gambled, but then he made the play in the backfield. So it is what it is. And you're not going to convince me that Ed Reed was better than him. I'm just not going to listen to that. I'm just not going to listen to it. I love Troy Polamalu, loved how he played with a reckless abandon. He was the 16th pick out of USC in 2003. 2-time Super Bowl champion. 2-time champion. NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2010. You know, 4-time first team All Pro, 2-time second team All Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, member of the 2000 All Decade Team, and also a member of the National Football League Hall of Fame, inducted in 2020. I love Troy Polamalu and what he brought to this franchise. He was what was needed at the time. You know, they needed a spark in the secondary. They needed somebody that was not only going to cover you and make big plays. How many big plays did we see him make? Interceptions, tipping balls, catching tip balls. And then he got busy when he got the ball in his hand. Like, he didn't just, okay, I got an interception. Oh, I'm just going to get tackled by the first guy, fall on the ground. No, Troy's trying to get to the end zone. He's trying to get to pay dirt. He's trying to make a play. You know, that was Troy Polamalu. And he did it with a reckless abandon. Again, as wild. This is the thing that's funny about him. As wild and crazy and reckless and fearless that he played on the football field, off the field, he is the most soft spoken, nicest man that you could meet. You would have, you just saw him, especially if you see him today, he's got a ton of gray hair. You would have no idea that this man was the type of football player that he was. You would have no clue. That's what he was. But you know what? Sometimes the best football players, they just turn into something different when they get on the football field. Troy Polamalu was that. So that is my list, people, as far as the top 5 best draft picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. Let's go to the poll question. That one was a fun research. Which Steeler legend had the most profound impact on the franchise? A, is it Mean Joe Green? B, Terry Bradshaw? C, Rod Woodson? Or D, Franco Harris? Or E, Troy Polamalu? Be interesting. I think this one's going to be all over the board. I know who I'm picking. I think I already told you all who I thought was my person. But again, make sure you put a number next to the letter so we know exactly which poll question that you are answering.